Hey guys, in this one, what I wanted to go over is kind of a situation that involves life and death, as in the player live system. We've already created a system, as you can kind of see down here, where our health manager is controlling our healing and our hurting and all this kind of stuff with our life bar. And all that's great and fantastic, but the one thing we kind of left open was this death. You know, what happens after our life is zero or negative number? How do we update this, and how do we cause this to end up destroying and killing our character? And how do we place this inside of our game? So we quick image real quick. Right here, this is what we're going to end up doing, is create a player live system. Right now we have our life bar, our heal, our hurt, and this system comes out to the normalize, which shows the life bar. Okay, so what we want to have happen is when the player dies, okay, when it's hurt and our life equals zero, we want to create a situation where we can create a special effect, something that says, hey, you've been killed, you know, your player life is run out, you know, respawn, whatever. And what we want to have happen is we need it to destroy the player, okay, and then after that we need to remove a life from our life pool, okay, you know, 3 lives or whatever it is, and then what we want to do is have the thing restart the level, okay, start over from the beginning. In this case, and then what we want to have happen is eventually, after our player is destroyed, we want to create a situation where we have our game over. It displays a game over, and then we're able to reset our states, reset the level, basically reset the entire game back down to 0, all except for our high scores, which we're going to get to in a little bit later video. So overall, this is the system we're going to kind of create real quick. So right now what we have is we have our life bar, heal or hurt, and normalize, and for the most part it's pretty well working. Alright, in this case I've actually shrunk the number of hit points so that within about 3 hits it triggers off to the death. So pretty simple stuff so far. What we want to have happen now is we need to add all this create effects and destroy the player and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to have happen is we want to go to our variables and our global variables, and I've already added a score variable. I'll go ahead and get rid of that for the moment. Add this new variable. The new variable needs to be lives, or let's make it player lives. Okay, instead of a float, let's make it an int. Give an int value of, let's just say 3 for the moment. Okay, so that's going to be our player lives. This is what's going to kind of tie in global variable, keep track of the number of lives that our player has. Alright, let's go over to our life bar, right? And right now we're drawing this texture that has that's our current life bar, and let's add another action. In this case, let's go with a GUI object. A box or a label will be fine, I do believe, and we want the text to say lives with a little exclamation point, and you can see it kind of sitting in the corner over here. Let's slide this in. So it's a 0.19, I think a 0.15, 0.16. There you go. That'll work just about perfect. So lives, that's going to be our label. That's going to control the number of display the number of lives that we have. But what we need to do is we're going to have to convert lives into a string in order to place it on the end here. So the next thing I want to do is go to my action browser, and let's do one more GUI label. All right. And in this case our text is going to be a string. We don't have any strings yet, so let's create one. So variables, and let's call this one lives string. Okay, and that string, which is basically a text, a text number, is what we're going to display. All right, so at the moment our live string, and our string is going to be 3. Okay, it's the same as our starting lives. So what I want to have, so your events, strings, yeah, string value will be 3. Go back to our state, and then come down to the second one where it says text live string, and you'll see the little number 3 pops up over here. Okay, so what we want to do is that's at 0.16. So let's move this over about 2.24. Does that look about right? 0.2, yeah, let's just say make it nice, kind of even, 0.25, right? That's a little far over. Let's go 0.23. Yeah, all right, 0.23. That'll be the way we've moved over. I don't know if we'll do double-digit lives, but if we did, we always could scoot this over a little bit more. But there's our lives counter. It doesn't do it. It's not hooked up to anything yet, but that's where it should be. All right. So on death, what we want to have happen is the first thing we want to have happen is a little bit of math. Okay. So go to our math, and then let's set. Go to, where are you now? We want a int subtract. All right. So let's go to int add, which will be fine. So it's going to add an int add. The variable will be global, will be player lives, and we're going to add a -1 because -1 plus anything is -1. So what we want to have happen is the very first thing that happens upon death is it subtracts a life. All right, and then what else do we want to do? We need to remove a life. We need to destroy the player. So let's go to game object. Hold on one moment. Go in destroy self. That would be just fine. Except since we're in health manager, we actually want a destroy object. So let's remove you. Go to destroy object, add action to state. What do we want to destroy? We want to destroy the player. Goodbye, player. All right, so nice to know you. So destroy the object. That's the first thing that we're going to want to do. Then we want to subtract the life. All right, so that'll get rid of our guy. We want to create this special effect, right? We want it to create some sort of a special effect for when the player is destroyed. So let's go ahead and knock that out, which we need to go to physics. Actually, we need to go to game object, and we want to go to create object. All right, just like we did with our bullets, we want to be able to do the same thing with a physics. So what we need to do is, a particle system. So game object, create other, and we want to go to create a particle system. This particle system is going to be called player explode. Okay, it doesn't need to be anything too super complicated. We just want our little emitter here to basically just kind of explode out, in 360 degrees. So the first thing we change is our duration. Only needs to be about 1 second. Okay, that probably would be all we would want. Looping, we really wouldn't want it to loop either, but we want to get our shape first before we turn that off. So let's go down to our shape, and instead of a cone, what we really want is a sphere. Okay, so now we have all this stuff going on there. Our max particles, 1,000. That should work okay. And then turn off looping, and then see what happens. It's a little lackluster, but it's starting to get there. So let's change this to 10,000. Hit play. So that's a few more. Let's go to emission, and instead of max particles, let's change max particles to 100. Change our emission rate to say 250. Our duration though should be about say 0.5, say half a second of emission, and then our start speed. Let's change that to about 10 so it goes a little quicker. There we go. That's pretty good. Poosh. There you go. That should work pretty good. So our lifetime, let's make that a 1, and hit play. There we go. Yeah, just kind of real quick, poof out. All right. So that's what we'll do for our particle system. So again, needs to change. Make sure that thing's changed to stop. Oh, please tell me it was not. Okay. All right. So duration 0.5. Got our start speed. Got our emission. Got our shape. Got all this kind of stuff set up. Make sure this thing is still set to player explode. And what we're going to do is just kind of move it so we won't see it in the beginning of the game or whatever. What we're going to do is change our health manager, our death, and where it says create object, what we're going to create, we are going to create our player explode. We'll change this into a prefab a little bit later on, but But that's what we want to do is go ahead and spawn player explode, and the spawn point though is going to have to be our player. Okay, because we want to spawn right over our player and have our player disappear. So the first thing we want to have happen is that it needs to create the object while there's still a player to create. Okay, second thing we want to do is destroy the player so that we can no longer input the game. Third thing we want to do is subtract our life. And the last thing we will want to do is restart the level, but let's test this first. So I hit, and then on death. Wow, so explode and then the camera goes crazy. Camera going crazy should be a pretty easy fix. So let's go to our camera. So under our main camera, and we have our state 1 where it's following our object. And what we want to make sure we can do is right here we have this add -15, and we have the set position, and right now Z is set to none. Why don't we make sure that this is set to -15, and then this way we can just get rid of this add Z of 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is set it to our player position and then a -15, and this should fix the problem. So boom, boom, and boom. Right, I can't move the camera anymore. My player is gone. He's exploded, and everything should be good and golden. All right, so now that that's all working, let's do our last but not least thing, which is restart our level. So we want to go to Action Browser one more time, and we want to go down to Game. We want to go to Level, not Game, Level, and I want Restart Level. Okay, so I want to add that action to the state. So what's going to happen is it's going to explode the player, get rid of the player, subtract the life, and then restart the level. And when that happens, our life bar, okay, should increment up that you have the lives. So let's do this one more time. Boom, boom, and boom. Oh, okay, not restarting yet. We got to fix that. Alright, so to get this thing to update, what we need to have happen is go to our very first one here with our life bar. And right now we have it draw a texture, put our number of lives up there, and then display our live string, which is currently 3. Well, what we need to do is before it displays our live string, right in here, we need to add a convert int string. So our actual conversion will happen right here. So we're going to take the player lives, go it to live string, and then whatever it updates to, it'll then display. Okay, so before live string is called, let's drag this back up to the top like there. So we have our convert the string and then display the number of lives. So long as this convert happens before the display, it should show the proper number of lives. So let's see, double check, boom, boom, and boom. Now we're down to 2. Yes, and uh-oh, wait, what is that? It still killed me. Oh no, oh, this is not good. What's going on? Why do we have our thing kicking us back out again? The answer lies in the fact that our health manager, if we look at our life bar, drawing the health, all this kind of stuff, our health has not been reset. Okay, our global's player health is still at 0 from where we had died last time. So as soon as it goes back through this state, it says, oh well, you've been hit and now you're at -1 again. It's back to death once again. So the last thing we need to have back in our death when this thing restarts is it needs to set our player health back to 10. So let's go ahead and do a math, and we need to set an int value. Okay, and what we want to do is go to our player lives. I'm sorry, it's a set float value. Let's remove this one. Set float value, and our set float value is going to be player health. Set the value back up to 10. I know it's like a destroy you, and then we're going to add it all right back. So we'll set, that'll be the last thing we do. So the player will already be gone, the health bar will already be at 0, and then we're going to set the float value back up to 10. So you'd actually probably could place that same string somewhere else, put in the start of your player script or anything like that. So now we're at the 2, and then we're back to 1. All right. So play one more time. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So now 2 lives. Boom, boom, and boom. Wow. Now I set it back to 10. So now it's definitely taking its sweet time to come on down. But basically, it's now working. So now we got 2 lives, 1 life, that kind of thing. Resetting the level. So it's all working as, hopefully functioning as designed.